In the past, we've talked about different tricks you can use when you're writing a class for your Python script. This week, we're going to look at the concept of slots in Python classes. Welcome to another MetPy Monday. Hello, I'm John Lehman, a software engineer for Unidata. Now, a lot of the time, we try to encourage people that you probably don't need to write a class for whatever you're doing. But there are certainly cases where you do. That's why they exist. And we've looked at some tools before, like the data class, and a few other basic class ideas or object-oriented programming ideas. But one that we haven't talked about is the idea of a slot. And to see why a slot is useful, we first need to see what can happen without them. So I'm going to create a class. I'm going to call it station. It's going to be a pretty boring class. We're not going to really add any functionality. That's not the point of this Monday. But we're on our dunderInit method, or double underscore. We're going to take self, of course, and a station ID parameter. And then I'm going to set the self.stationID attribute of that class to station ID. So pretty standard pattern for a class constructor, right? We call dunderInit, we are passing it one parameter, and we're assigning that to an attribute that's stored in that instance of the class. So if this doesn't make any sense, think about the class of station being a generic description of what a station is. And then we're going to create an instance, and we can create as many as we want, of that class that is a specific station. And we can attach things to this. We can attach attributes like the ID or like a temperature. And we can attach methods that can do work, like calculations. But for now, we're just going to stick with a simple class with the dunderInit method. So if I want to create an instance of this, I'll call it station1. We will create an instance of station class with station ID KTLX. So if I want to access that attribute, I can call s1.stationID, and there's my station ID. Now what if I want to add temperature? Well, I can call station1.temperature and make that equal to 25. And now I can access that. So that's great. Basically, these attributes are being stored in a dictionary behind the scenes, and we are adding dynamically to that dictionary. So I don't have to tell the class what attributes can be added. And in some cases, that's great and needed functionality. Where it's not great functionality is when I'm typing something and I misspell. I may not want my user to be able to create their own attributes because maybe I want to lock in what attributes they are. Now I not only have a temperature attribute, but I have a temper attribute. So we're missing that other T. That's not great. So we can solve this with slots. So I'm going to create a class called betterStation, and we'll create the same dunderInit of self, station ID, self.stationID is equal to station ID. But now, above dunderInit, I'm going to set dunder slots, and I'm going to set it to what attributes I would like my class to be able to have. Oh, I misspelled there. Temperature. And let's say dew point. Now with that one minor change, let's create an instance of betterStation. And we'll make this one KOUN. I can set temperature, say to be 27. But now, what if I have mistyped Well, we get an attribute error. BetterStation has no attribute. So we cannot add something that's not given a slot when we're defining the class. One other little perk of this, if you're doing a lot of interactions and a lot of attribute access, let's look at time it. We'll time access to S1 and to S2. So we're at 43 nanoseconds, and we're at 40 to 41 on the second one with slots. So accessing attributes when your class is defined using slots is actually just ever so slightly faster, which can add up if you're doing a lot of access. Overall, slots are a great way to protect your user a little bit by ensuring that they're setting only the attributes that your class is going to know how to interact with. I hope that you found this useful, and I'll see you on next week's MetPy Monday.